Thank you to Sweetwater for sponsoring this video and supporting my channel. Headphones are one of those staple items that you find in every home studio, and for quite a while now, the Audio-Technica's ATH-M50Xs have been one of the most popular choices among producers, mixing engineers, and even the average consumer. These pair of headphones were initially released back in 2014, but they still seem to be as relevant today as they were 7 years ago. So today I want to attempt to answer the question, are they really still worth it in 2021? Hey there, I'm Ivan Calderon and welcome back to another video. So the answer to the question is yes, they are 100% still worth it 7 years later, and if that's all you wanted to hear, then there you go. I will see you next week. Now, if you're interested as to why I think they're still worth it, then stick around because I've been using these headphones for the past 6 years and I have some thoughts. Before we get started though, I do want to take a moment to thank the sponsor for this video, Sweetwater. Sweetwater is the largest online retailer of musical instruments and pro audio equipment in the United States and the place where I've gotten most of my gear over the years. Not only are they a one-stop shop for all of your studio needs, but they also have amazing customer service to the point where they assign a personal sales rep to you that follows up after every order to make sure that everything went well. If you're in the market for some new gear, say maybe a new pair of headphones, then consider heading over to sweetwater.com. Thank you to Sweetwater for sponsoring this video, and without further ado, let's jump right in. Okay, so as mentioned before, I originally bought my pair of M50Xs back in 2015, and as a matter of fact, they are these exact pair right here. Now, you've seen these in literally every YouTube video I've ever done, and I also use them in every mix I ever do, and that's because I genuinely think they are fantastic, but let's talk about why I think they're so good. Now, instead of listing every single detail of the headphones, which I'm sure has been done before, instead for this video, I want to focus on the features that I like the most and that have ultimately kept these headphones as my #1 pick for the studio. Another thing to consider is that this is coming from the perspective of someone who uses them primarily for music production, so if you're someone who doesn't do music, just keep that in mind. Okay, so starting off, the first thing that I really love about these headphones are the design and specifically their range of motion. My biggest pet peeve with studio headphones is when the ear cups don't swivel. Now, that might sound a little silly at first, but sometimes as we're working, you want to step out of the mix to hear something else, whether that be the artist that's in the room with you, or maybe it's your significant other trying to get your attention. Now, the natural inclination, at least for me, is to take one ear cup off and rest the other one on my head. But if the headphones don't have this ability, then it just becomes really awkward and uncomfortable. Luckily though, the M50Xs have ear cups with a 90-degree swivel range, which allows you to pretty much wear them however you want. This is also handy if you use them as tracking headphones because oftentimes artists will do the same and wear them with one ear cup on and the other off. Finally, the swivel range allows for a more comfortable resting position when you just want to hang them on your neck. The ear cup swivel is really nice, but it doesn't stop there. The headphones also collapse into a compact form factor, which is super handy if you ever need to travel with them. The headphones also come with a variety of detachable cables, including a 1.2 to 3 meter coiled cable, a 3 meter straight cable, and then a shorter 1.2 straight cable. This means that you can pop in the short cable in case you ever want to take them out for personal listening, or use a longer cable if you use them in the studio for, say, tracking. As an added security measure, the cables also have a built-in twist to lock mechanism to prevent any unwanted disconnection. Moving on, the second thing that I love about these headphones is how comfortable they are. In my early days of production, I didn't have studio monitors, and when that's the case, you usually resort to working on headphones. This can also be the case if you live in a space like in an apartment where you can't be as loud as you want to be. Now, I am a huge advocate of taking breaks to let your ears rest, but if you're wearing headphones for a long period of time, then you want something that isn't going to pinch your head too hard and that won't cause too much ear fatigue, and I find that these headphones are really great in both of these areas. Regarding the ear cups, they are made out of this like faux leather that I actually preferred compared to something like suede because they don't tend to get hot after wearing them for a while. Personally, I think the ear cups are fine, but I have seen other people complain about them. But the good news is that replacing them, even with third-party cups, is super easy. If you guys follow Henny, then you know that he recently dropped a video where he did some modifications to his M50Xs, so I'll make sure to link that down below in case you want to check it out. The next thing that I love about these headphones is how well built and durable they are. Now, I realize that your mileage may vary depending on how you handle your gear, but as mentioned before, I have been using these headphones for the past 6 years and counting. As far as the actual build quality goes, these are mostly made out of plastic, but they don't feel cheap, and not once have I ever felt concerned about breaking or damaging them. 90% of the time, these do live here in the studio, but sometimes I do take them out for traveling and regular music consumption, and they continue to hold up even after all this time. Okay, on to the big one. How do they sound? The M50Xs, in my opinion, have great sonic representation, and notice how I didn't say sound quality. I tend to stay away from the term sound quality, and especially when referring to studio monitors, and that's simply because that term tends to have different meanings to different people. All I can tell you is that these have a very flat frequency response, meaning that the EQ curve that's built into the headphones doesn't have any excessive dips or boosts. This is something that you actually want in studio headphones because you want to be able to hear exactly what's coming out of your DAW without any additional coloration. This will ultimately allow you to make the best possible decisions when working with audio. As mentioned before, I use these headphones not only to monitor myself when I'm recording these YouTube videos, but also when checking my mixes, and I have absolutely no complaints. Finally, the last thing that I love about these headphones is the price. Now look, I get it. This is another point of subjectivity, but for professional studio headphones with all of the aforementioned features, $150 is not a bad deal. Obviously, you can go lower or higher on the sonic ladder and get even better headphones that do more, but I find that the M50Xs are a nice balance between value and price, and quite honestly, that's why I think they've continued to be as relevant 7 years later. Not to mention that if you can't get proper studio monitors at the moment, these are a respectable alternative at a price point below most set of speakers. So there you have it, those are my personal reasons why I still love and use my M50Xs 6 years later, but now I wanna hear from you. First, do you have a pair of M50Xs? And if so, what do you think about them? If you don't have a pair, then what are you currently using when it comes to headphones? Let me know in the comment down below. But that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, thank you to Sweetwater for sponsoring this video. And as always, like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you're not already, but I'll see you on the next one.